This really felt like the very first version of this script. It's just, y'all, if y'all wanna go watch this movie and let me know what you think, please. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Auzia and I'm a storyteller. Over this past week, just like many of you, I tuned into the Super Bowl halftime show and there were a lot of mixed reviews. I also got a chance to watch Monique's latest film, The Reading. I'm going to start with the controversy behind Rihanna's performance, but if you're just here for the film review, go ahead and skip to this time code. I just want to give a few facts before I dive deep into my personal view about this performance. I just think it would be nice to discuss her overall artistry and how she got to this point. All right, y'all, so the year was 2005. I was 15 years old, 8th or 9th grade. This is right around the time when I had my first school dance. And Rihanna's Pon de Replay was the song of that year. It was #1 on the US Billboard and it made top 10 of the Hot 100s for 23 weeks. I just remember a beautiful but strange looking girl with the longest torso I've ever seen and a voice that wasn't great, wasn't awful, but very specific to her. In the early years, I used to compare her to Shakira in that you could always tell when Rihanna was on a record. She only sounded like herself. And no shade, but individuality in music today is just so rare. Fast forward, she puts out her sophomore album, A Girl Like Me, which does even better than her debut with singles like SOS, If It's Lovin' That You Want, and of course her biggest song of that year, Unfaithful. Now around this time, critics were a little bit divided. Sure, her second album did very well. She's proven that she's not just some one-hit wonder, but will Rihanna make an impact in this industry? Is she good enough to make this a long-term career? And Riri said, watch. 2007, the very next year, Rihanna drops the biggest album of her entire career, Good Girl Gone Bad. Plenty important tracks we could talk about here, but for time purposes, the obvious one, Umbrella. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes Britney Spears' management ever made. The Dream, who wrote the song, had originally intended it to be for Britney, but her label just didn't want it. And Rihanna was like, The Dream? The same man who wrote Bad for Jay Holiday and will go on to write Single Ladies for Beyonce? Bet. If y'all don't remember, this is the song that made her a star. I mean, it set the trajectory for the next stages in her career. It's pretty much only hits after that. Take a Bow, Disturbia, Rude Boy, That Rihanna Rain Just Won't Let Up, Only Girl in the World, What's My Name, S&M, Diamond, Kiss It Better, Love on the Brain, Word, 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 What You Deny, Needed Me. When I heard that song, you needed me. 9 Grammys, 33 nominations. The catalog is enormous. This woman gave us an album every year except for 2008, from 2005 to 2012. Hit for hit, bop for bop. And this is why, just like many of you, I was very distraught when she decided, this is it. I'm done. I have served my time. I'm reclaiming my time. Unlike some people, I'm actually a self-made billionaire and I'm ready to live my life. Oh, we were in so much denial. She coming back. She coming back. She can't just stop doing music. We need her. Summer's almost here. Drake, Rihanna, they gonna release. They gotta release. It's coming. The reggae album is coming. She just keeping it to herself. Oh, more Fenty products. Oh, 50 Savage products. Oh, okay. Wait, she pregnant? She did not come back. I mean, technically, but no, that don't count. So naturally, when it came out that she would be performing at the Super Bowl for the first time, her very first performance in 7 years, a lot of us were thinking, this is it. It's happening. New music. She's about to go all out. She's done the business thing. She's done the family thing. Our girl is back. And then the camera zooms out and we see that she's pregnant. And that's when I knew I had to change my entire perspective on what's about to happen. And not the performance itself, just the meaning behind it. I thought this was going to be Rihanna's way of reintroducing herself to her fans and to the industry after such a very long hiatus. But after watching the performance, it feels more like she was saying, hey, as you can see, I'm still living my life. More music may come, or it may never come. But to remind you, cause niggas forget, this is how much music I have given to this world. I think that explains this whole performance. The simplicity of the stage and the set, the color blocking, no costume changes, no special guests. She really just stripped it down. It was just about Rihanna and her music. I understand anybody who thought this performance was boring. I didn't think so, but it's understandable for a platform as big as the Super Bowl. But I came across a lot of discourse that just wasn't fair. Primarily about her pregnancy. People wanted to compare her to Cardi B or Beyonce. Well, when they were pregnant, they still went full out. They still danced hard and all of that. Okay, first, when have y'all ever known Rihanna to be a full out performer? She's not Sasha Fierce, and there's nothing wrong with that. Rihanna has always been about vibes. She's the homie on stage. I like that. That's part of her image. Rihanna ain't never hit no strong choreo like that, especially as an adult. And we won't even get into how we expect more from female performers than we do male performers. I could do a whole video on that. And another thing, how you gonna compare one woman's pregnancy to another's? Y'all don't respect motherhood and it shows. This woman was at least 60 feet off the ground with a full stomach, and y'all talking about she didn't care about the performance. I saw that people were saying, well, she looks like she's lip singing. Duh. It's the Super Bowl. A lot of artists lip sync at the Super Bowl. I hate to break it to you, but Whitney Houston, one of the best Super Bowl performances of all time, yeah, she was lip singing. It's not a strange thing to do on a platform that big. Personally, was it the best performance I've ever seen from her? No. I thought it was cute. She looked beautiful. The vocals were fine. Most importantly, it was just kind of cool to see Rihanna, the billionaire, the artist, the mother, a woman of color whose entire career I've been able to witness, be on a platform as big as the Super Bowl and just do her thing. Okay, that sums up my thoughts on Rihanna's performance. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments. I always want to hear from you guys. Let's move on. All right. I do not know who told me to watch this movie. Somebody in the comments asked me to review it. So I signed up for a BET Plus account, words I never thought I'd say. Very intrigued to see Monique back on the big screen. This review is gonna be very short because I'm having a hard time finding a level that's fair to critique this film. It's basically on the level of a student film. The basic requirements of good cinema are not there. Major dialogue issues, sound issues, script revisions if there were any, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This is your one and only chance. I am going to spoil this movie. I'm gonna give you the plot and then 3 major issues that I see in the film before I get up out of here. So Monique plays a woman named Emma who's married with children, and one night we see that an intruder has broken into her home and murdered her entire family. She was the only one in the house who survived the attack. Fast forward sometime later, she's written a book about the event, and to promote the book, her sister-in-law wants to stage a seance reading. Kind of strange motivation there. We have Sky and her group of friends who are basically scam artists that conduct these seance readings to get money, as evidenced earlier in the film when we see them take advantage of a young man trying to connect with a family member. But here's the thing, Sky is actually a real medium. She does have certain powers to connect with the dead. And this is how, during her reading with Emma, she discovers that it was actually Emma who killed her family. Having her secret discovered, Monique's character does a complete 180 and goes on this murderous rampage to kill everyone in the house. If this story, as I have presented to you, sounds well written, it's not. At least not in the way that it is presented to us. So I want to start off by saying we need more Black movies in the supernatural and sci-fi realm, okay? So I'm here for the representation. And I think the bare bones of a story like this is quite fascinating and can be done very well. I'm going to talk about the director here in a little bit. I wish that instead of being the director, the writer, and he had a number of hats, that he would have pitched this storyline to like a Jordan Peele. Wow, what a Jordan Peele would have been able to do with a story like this. But let's go back. I'm going to talk about 3 major issues. Now, that does not mean there are only 3 things wrong with this movie. I just did the best I could to consolidate the major things. So here is number 1. Its technical issues and poor editing takes away from the story. The sound in this film is really, really bad. I don't know how fair it is to critique the sound because it's such a low budget film and I want to respect the director's, resources, what he had to work with. But at the same time, Lee Daniels was the producer of this film. He is a man with resources and I just don't understand how he could produce a film with this many technical issues. For example, I'm shooting a scene in this room and I'm gonna stop talking. That little air that you hear, that little tone, there's a sound here that exists in this room. That's called room tone. So if I'm recording a scene, two people are talking, maybe one mic on that person, one mic on this person, or maybe I have a shotgun mic that's recording them both at the same time. After the talking part is done, I'm just gonna record the room tone. Why do I do this? So that when I go to mix the sound, everything sounds like it happened in the same place and everything feels natural. That doesn't exist in this film. Editors, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like one audio isn't flowing naturally into another. You can almost hear when the recording stopped of one actor and a new recording starts of the next actor. So it's very awkward and it's very distracting. And to the general public who are not into creating films, you may not know exactly what it is, but if you watch this movie and you're thinking to yourself, this feels weird or this sounds weird, that's why the sound is really up. The other issues that I have with the editing is that some of the scenes, especially toward the beginning, are so long. A scene only needs to be as long as it needs to be. And sometimes a lengthier scene can build tension. I do understand that. But when a scene does that the right way, you feel the tension to where you can't even tell how long the scene is. Particularly in this film, when Sky is actually doing the reading with Emma and we start to see her go through these changes and feelings and we see that she's seeing something, but we don't know what she sees. And that part takes a long time. I'm bothered that it took a long time and it wasn't done well. It actually reminded me of a scene that I really liked from one of the seasons of Black Mirror. I'm gonna try to set this up for you. This woman is an insurance agent and she goes out and interviews people after they've had a car accident or whatever. And there's this invention that allows her to tap into the brain and actually get eyewitnesses, like visual eyewitnesses of what happened at the accident. So she goes to interview this woman who was a witness to an accident. As she's looking at the machine, she sees that this woman committed a murder. And that scene is kind of drawn out because us as the audience, we already know this woman committed this murder. And we're just waiting for the insurance agent to find out. The director is using that tension of the audience to elongate that scene. And it's edited in a way where you're just kind of sitting on the edge of your seat like, oh my God, when is she gonna find out that this woman committed a murder? And then what's gonna happen next? The reading does not give us this opportunity. The script has written it where Monique is this crazy person and we don't know that she's a crazy person. But I wonder how much different it would have been if we would have known that Monique had killed her family. I wonder then if that tension during the reading would have been a little bit better, because as it stands and I watch it, I'm like, okay, nothing is happening in this scene. So like, come on, bring it on. Where's the movie? The second issue I have is with the script itself. How about some of the things that just flat out don't make sense? We have a young man who gets shot point blank range in the chest. 2 minutes later, he's up running around like that didn't happen. Monique's character has no depth to her at all. She's just crazy. And the script has it that the reason she killed her family is because they were facing financial ruin and she wasn't about to go back to the hood. She was not going to be poor. And it's like, okay, people have killed for money before. That's fine. But why does that make her psychotic again? And why does that mean she kills her kids? If that's how you were going to sell it to me, I needed some exposition on Monique. I just needed something so I could make that leap with you, because I just wasn't making that leap. Kathy Bates in Misery, there was so much exposition on her that by the time we got to the scene where she breaks his legs with the hammer thing, I'm like, this bitch is crazy. Like the Joker, Joaquin Joaquin Phoenix. Crazy, right? He's crazy. But the exposition of that point, it makes it a bigger impact once it happens. Whereas in the reading, it just felt like two different movies. The first half of the reading feels like one movie. The second half of the reading feels like a completely different movie, and they don't mesh together very well. So there's a way to do crazy. There's a way to do psychotic where I respect the character. Monique was just funny and outrageous for no reason. This really felt like the very first version of this script. I just didn't get the feeling that there was a table read and a writer's room. It was giving very Tyler Perry yeah. The movie ends with Sky, the protagonist, getting the upper hand on Monique, killing Monique, but then later on we see this wink in Sky's eye, and it's like, oh, did Monique's spirit take over Sky? It's just, y'all. If y'all want to go watch this movie and let me know what you think, please. The third issue I have with this movie is not really even about the movie. I'm sad for Monique. Monique is an Oscar winner, y'all, and she's actually very talented. And I know that people say things about her, that she is hard to work with, she's mean, she does this to herself. And it's really hard to evaluate that as a Black woman. We are often called divas and hard to work with and stuff like that. And they say the same thing about Jennifer Lawrence, Gwyneth Paltrow. Those women still get work. I don't know where she is as far as being blackballed in Hollywood and stuff. I don't know. I know that she's talented and she deserves better than this. I've seen so many people say, oh, well, the movie was bad, but she was good. Was she? She committed. She definitely committed to the role. I'm not saying anything bad about Monique's acting ability, but because the movie was so poorly done, it almost feels like she's overacting. And because the script doesn't take her character seriously, I can't take her character seriously. Okay, look, before I go, I do want to give props to Courtney Glade. This is a director who has no formal training in film. He said this himself in an interview that I found. As far as I can tell, The Reading is his second film. He did another film that he promoted in Atlanta called The Blink. I'll link that trailer in the comments below. He's out here, he's doing it. He is getting the green light from people like Lee Daniels who have some notoriety. And it was actually kind of gangster how he got Monique to be in this movie. He slid in her emails and was like, listen, this is what I'm doing. Here's the script. She turned him down at first. Let me try it again. And ultimately, she read the script, fell in love with it, and decided to do the movie. So much congratulations to him for just having the courage and the belief in his own work to make this happen. I want to see a writer's room from him. To me, this movie was a great premise, but he just had the wrong people around him. And of course, let me know if you think I'm just dead wrong. Comments are welcome. That's right. Real quick, let's do some housekeeping stuff. So the comments under my review of You People, y'all went in, okay? I loved the responses. People were arguing with me, no, you're wrong because of this. I love that stuff, okay? And a lot of people made me rethink the intention behind the religion in the film. I saw some comments that were saying, oh, Kenya made them fake religious on purpose because yada, yada, yada. Even though I disagree because I don't think he's that intentional, it was nice to see a different kind of discourse. The problem that I have is when people come in my comment section and be disrespectful. We're not gonna do that. So just know before you comment, just put a little respect on it. That's all. Disagreement is more than welcome here. So again, go watch The Reading. Let me know what you think. If you haven't seen Rihanna's performance, go watch that. Let me know what you think. Next week, I'll be reviewing another Netflix original called The Strays. It comes out on Wednesday. The trailer was giving me some serious Jordan Peele vibes. Make sure you watch it so we can talk about it here. And guys, I am so close to being monetized. I now have over 1,000 subscribers. This was my dream. Oh my God, y'all found me, my people. Y'all are finding me. I know you guys love my reviews and I'm gonna keep them coming, but I do make other content. Please check out my series on Black-owned businesses. I have a couples game show that is freaking hilarious, and I've even started to vlog a little bit. So check those out, support my content. If there is nothing else, I will see you next Sunday. Be blessed.